Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures, where humanity always rises. The night was calm over Earth when the signal arrived. It came without warning, without pattern, without any known source. For a moment, every communication satellite on the planet froze. Screens flashed static. Radios screamed with sharp noise. Then slowly, the message appeared. It was not human. It was not friendly. It was a command. A voice, cold and metallic, spoke in a language no one knew. Yet somehow every machine translated it instantly. Prepare for surrender. The Varn Empire is coming. Scientists, soldiers, and leaders across the world stared at each other in shock. No one knew who the Varn were. No one had heard this name before. But everyone felt the same thing: danger. The message repeated again and again, growing louder each time. Soon, the news spread everywhere. Some people thought it was a prank. Some thought it was a new type of cyber attack. But space agencies quickly confirmed the truth. A massive object was moving toward Earth. Actually, not one object, an entire fleet. Dozens of alien ships, traveling at impossible speed, heading straight for the planet. The world fell into panic. Governments called emergency meetings. Scientists worked without rest. And militaries prepared for the worst. The planet had faced wars before, but nothing like this. No one knew the Varn's technology, their strength, their purpose. But Earth understood one thing. The Varn were coming for war. In a hidden underground base, far from all cities, a small team watched the signal replay on a giant screen. These people were not politicians. They were not soldiers. They were specialists from a top-secret program, known to only a few world leaders. The program was called Project Chaos. The leader of the team, Commander Rhea Morgan, stood with her hands behind her back as she listened to the alien message again. She did not panic. She did not fear. Instead, she whispered, "So it finally begins." The team around her exchanged worried looks. They had trained for years. They had built strange machines, tested strange weapons, and prepared unusual strategies. But none of them believed the day would actually come, not so soon. "Commander," one of the engineers said, voice shaking, "do we activate Chaos Protocol 1? Rhea did not answer at once. She stared at the screen. The alien voice repeated, "Prepare for surrender." Rhea breathed slowly, then nodded. "Yes, activate it." Alarms echoed through the hidden base. Lights turned red. Systems woke up. Secret hangars opened underground. Strange machines began to move. Engines humming like sleeping beasts, opening their eyes. Earth was preparing something. Something the aliens would not expect. Far above Earth, in the cold and dark of space, the Varn fleet approached. Their ships were sharp and metallic, glowing with blue and red energy. Inside the flagship, the Varn commander, Sovakran, watched Earth through a hologram. To him, the planet looked green, fragile, and primitive. Exactly what he expected. "Pathetic world," he said. "Their weapons will break in seconds. Their people will kneel in minutes." The Varn did not come to negotiate. Their empire wanted more territory, more resources, more slaves. Earth was simply another target on a long list. Sovakran turned to his officers. "Prepare the invasion plan. The humans will resist, but their resistance will amuse us for a moment before it ends." The crew laughed. They expected an easy victory. They expected fear. They expected surrender. None of them imagined the chaos waiting for them. Back on Earth, strange energy waves started forming around the moon. Satellites detected movement, but the data made no sense. Something was hidden there. Something powerful. Meanwhile, the alien signal continued to play across the world. Children cried. Adults prayed. Soldiers armed themselves. Scientists worked faster than ever. Everyone waited as the alien fleet drew closer and closer. The countdown began. In the base, Commander Rhea addressed her team. "Listen carefully," she said. Her voice was calm, but every word was sharp. "The Varn believe humans are weak. They believe we will panic. They believe we will kneel." She leaned forward. "They are wrong. Humans do not kneel. Humans adapt. Humans fight. Humans survive." The team nodded. Fear was still in their eyes, But something else replaced it, determination. Rhea continued. The world thinks we are not ready. But we are. Project Chaos is ready. And when the Varn attack, they will learn who we are. In space, the Varn fleet crossed the final distance. Earth's moon glowed silver beneath them. Their scanners activated, searching for weapons. They found nothing impressive. No huge planetary shields. No powerful cannons. No massive defense fleets. The Varn commander smirked. As expected, he said. This world is weak. But then something blinked. A tiny spark on the dark side of the moon. A movement too fast to track. A shadow that should not exist. It vanished before the Varn computers could analyze it. What was that? One of the alien officers asked. Probably nothing, Sovakran replied, waving it away. He did not know how wrong he was. On Earth, Rhea watched the alien fleet's arrival. Her fingers hovered over a single button, the Chaos release. Once pressed, there would be no going back. The screen showed Earth's last message, prepared for the Varn. We do not surrender. Rhea pressed the button, and the world changed. The moon's shadow opened like a doorway. Machines the Varn had never seen burst into action. Lights flickered across the sky. Energy storms formed out of nowhere. Project Chaos had awakened, and the universe was about to learn its meaning. Earth did not send fear. Earth did not send surrender. Earth sent chaos. The Varn fleet entered Earth's orbit with silent confidence. Their ships glided like metal predators, surrounded by blue energy fields that pulsed with deadly power. On the flagship, Commander Sovakran stood tall, his 4 eyes glowing with amusement as he watched the blue planet turn slowly beneath him. To him, Earth looked peaceful, almost innocent. A perfect target. A perfect conquest. Begin communication, he ordered. His voice was calm, as if he were speaking to children. A hollow screen opened before him, filled with Earth languages automatically translated by Varn tech. A deep tone vibrated through the fleet, and then a message was sent straight to every major city on the planet. The message echoed like thunder across radio channels, television screens, and satellites. Humans, you will kneel before the Varn Empire. You will surrender your world. Resistance will only bring pain. The words rippled across Earth. Millions watched the message appear in the sky. Some screamed, some froze, some prayed. But governments reacted instantly. Emergency sirens began to ring across continents. Air forces scrambled. Naval fleets prepared for the unknown. Soldiers gathered in bases, waiting for orders that no training had prepared them for. In the hidden underground base, Commander Rhea Morgan stood with her team as the Varn message repeated again. She showed no fear, only focus. They think we will kneel, she said quietly. Her team looked up at her, waiting. It's time to show them what humans do instead. In orbit, the Varn waited for Earth's reply, expecting panic, begging, or surrender. Instead, they received a short message, sent from an unknown Earth source. It appeared on the flagship's main screen in bright red text. Only 4 words. Come and take it. The bridge went silent. Officers looked at each other in shock. No species had ever replied like this. Sovakran narrowed his eyes. Bold, he muttered, but foolish. His second-in-command stepped forward. Commander, should we open fire? Sovakran raised a hand. Not yet. First we test their courage. He turned back to the screen. Send a small strike team. Destroy something big to symbol. Show them what happens when they refuse us. The order was sent. 3 sleek Varn destroyers broke away from the main fleet and began descending toward Earth's atmosphere. On Earth, radars detected the movement immediately. Alarm after alarm lit up across military bases. The destroyers cut through the atmosphere like falling stars, leaving burning trails behind them. People on the ground looked up and saw bright blue streaks tearing the sky open. Panic spread like wildfire. But in the secret base, Rhea stood calmly before her team. This is it, she said. The first strike. She turned to her comm officer. Activate Chaos Phase 1. A deep tremor shook the moon's surface. Metal plates opened like giant petals. From the darkness beneath, something activated. A group of small, fast, needle-shaped ships built with strange human engineering. These were not ordinary fighters. They were part of Project Chaos. Each one had unpredictable flight patterns, strange energy shields, and weapons designed to confuse enemy sensors. The first wave of Chaos units launched toward Earth's orbit. They moved silently, without heat signatures, without engines visible. They looked like shadows drifting through space. The Varn destroyers, still descending, suddenly detected movement behind them. Unknown objects approaching. One of the alien pilots reported, "Are they Earth ships? Their design is primitive," another replied, "but they move strangely." Before the Varn could analyze further, the Chaos units accelerated instantly. No warning, no formation, no pattern. They zipped in and around the destroyers like wild insects. The Varn ship computers screamed with error alerts. Targeting systems malfunctioned. Sensors glitched. The destroyer pilots shouted in confusion, "They are too fast. I cannot lock on. They are everywhere." Commander Sovakran watched from orbit, confused. "What are they doing?" he asked. His officer replied, We cannot read their movement. There is no tactical pattern." That was the point. Human unpredictability, weaponized. Below, the Chaos units fired small but precise bursts of energy at the Varn destroyers. Each shot hit a key weak point. Not enough to destroy instantly, but enough to disable engines and navigation. One destroyer spun out of control, flames burning along its hull. The second tried to escape, but two Chaos ships followed and sliced its shield with synchronized attacks. The third attempted to fire a plasma cannon, but the moment it began charging, a Chaos unit crashed directly into its emitter. Not a suicide crash, just a forced overload. The cannon exploded, tearing off the destroyer's front section. All three Varn ships began falling toward Earth uncontrollably. From cities below, millions watched as the alien ships that were meant to bring terror instead crashed into the ocean, sending massive waves into the sky. The shock across the planet was immediate. Hope replaced fear. Earth had fought back, and Earth had won the first round. On the flagship, Sovakran felt anger burning through him. "Impossible," he growled. "Primitive worlds do not defeat Varn destroyers." His officer trembled slightly. "Commander, the humans predicted our strike. They responded instantly." Sovakran turned sharply. "No, they reacted with chaos. Unorganized, wild, illogical." But deep down, he felt the first spark of fear. This enemy was not like the others. This enemy was unpredictable, and unpredictable meant dangerous. Back in the hidden base, cheers broke out among Ria's team as the data came in. But Ria raised her hand. "Do not celebrate yet," she said. "This was only a test. The real battle begins now." She knew the Varn would not accept defeat. She knew they would strike harder. So she prepared for Phase 2. In orbit, Sovakran snarled, "Prepare the primary fleet. No more warnings. We will crush this world." The sky above Earth darkened as hundreds of Varn ships powered their weapons. The first contact had gone terribly wrong for them, and the war was only beginning. Inside the underground base, alarms continued to echo as every screen flashed with incoming data from the first battle. Commander Ria Morgan stood in the center of the operations room, watching the collapsing Varn destroyers fall into the ocean on the screens around her. Her team cheered, but she only narrowed her eyes. She knew this was not victory. It was only the beginning. The Varn had tasted human resistance, and now they would come with full force. Ria turned to her engineers. "Prepare Chaos Phase 2. Every system, every unit. No delays." The room shifted immediately from celebration to intense focus. Hands flew across keyboards. Machines roared awake deep beneath the base. The air felt heavy, charged with tension and electricity. Far above Earth, in cold space, the Varn fleet reorganized. Hundreds of glowing ships moved into attack formation. Their anger filled the airwaves. Commander Sovakran slammed one of his metallic fists on the console. "I want a full analysis of those human ships," he shouted. Officers scrambled to gather data, but every attempt failed. "Commander," one officer said nervously, "the human units do not follow normal physics. They do not emit standard engine signals. Their paths are impossible to predict." Sovakran hissed in frustration. There's no such thing as impossible. Find a weakness. But deep inside, the commander felt a strange unease. He had fought many species. All had followed logic. All had patterns. But humans, they fought like no one he had ever faced. Meanwhile, the Chaos units returned to their hidden hangars beneath the moon's surface. As they approached, massive mechanical doors opened silently. The units slipped inside like shadows vanishing into darkness. Dozens of engineers watched from monitoring stations as the ships docked. Each ship was scanned, repaired, and upgraded immediately. Project Chaos was not a single weapon. It was a living system, always changing, adapting, evolving. That was the real power of chaos. It could never be predicted. Rhea entered the core chamber, a huge circular room filled with blue lights and humming machines. At the center was the heart of Project Chaos, a superintelligence built from merged human strategies, simulations, and experimental algorithms. It did not think like a normal AI. It did not follow rules. It learned from chaos. It improved from chaos. And now, it sensed the Varn's anger. Rhea placed her hand on a scanner. The chamber unlocked, and a low voice echoed around her. "Commander, Phase 2 authorization confirmed. Preparing new tactical models." Rhea nodded. "The Varn are coming with everything. We cannot meet them head-on." The Chaos Core replied, "We will not. We will confuse them, distract them, break their order." She smiled slightly. That was exactly what humans were best at, turning disorder into strategy. In orbit, the Varn fleet finally finished its attack formation. Hundreds of cannons charged. Blue fire lit the darkness. "Begin planetary bombardment," Sovakran ordered. The first wave of plasma blasts roared toward Earth, glowing like falling suns. On Earth's surface, people watched the sky in horror as burning streaks approached. But just before the blasts reached the atmosphere, something unbelievable happened. The projectors hidden on the moon activated. A massive spherical field expanded outward, invisible at first, then shimmering gold as it absorbed the plasma. The Varn blasts exploded harmlessly on the barrier. The shock wave rippled through the vacuum of space. Sovakran froze. What is that shield?" His officers stared wide-eyed. "It came from the moon, Commander, not Earth." Sovakran's skin darkened in anger. "The humans have a base on the moon. Impossible. They are not advanced enough." But they were. Inside the moon base, engineers cheered as the shield held strong. Rhea watched silently. "Good," she whispered. "Now begin the next step." The moon's dark side suddenly lit up with movement. Dozens of chaos units flew out. Then hundreds. They swirled together like a storm of metallic birds. Their engines were silent. Their movements were wild. And they headed straight for the Varn fleet. On the flagship, alarms blared. "Commander!" shouted an officer. "Human ships incoming, hundreds of them." Sovakran bared his teeth. "Fire everything. Destroy them." But the moment the Varn opened fire, the chaos units split apart, scattering in every direction. They spun, twisted, stopped suddenly, then accelerated unpredictably. The Varn gunners tried to follow but failed. Plasma shots missed every time. "Why can't we track them?" an officer screamed. "Their movements make no sense." That was the point. The chaos units dove into the fleet like a tornado. They did not attack the strongest ships. They attacked weak spots, blind spots, generators, sensor towers. Small hits, but deadly. A Varn cruiser exploded from the inside when its energy core overloaded. Another lost its engines. A third spun into another ship, crashing it. Sovakran watched in growing horror as his perfect formation fell apart. The fleet became tangled in their own confusion. "Get them under control," he shouted, but no one could. The humans had turned the battlefield into madness. Rhea watched the chaos unfold on her screens. The moon base vibrated with activity. "Continue Phase 2, she ordered. "Do not let them recover." The Chaos Core shifted tactics instantly. Some units flew away from the fleet, creating fake energy signatures to mislead the Varn sensors. Others released clouds of metallic dust that blinded enemy scanners. Some emitted false distress signals, tricking Varn ships into colliding with each other. The battlefield became pure confusion, Sovakrin felt humiliation burning in him. "Retreat," he finally ordered. "Pull back and regroup." The Varn fleet limped out of range, damaged, scattered, and disorganized. The humans watched them go. For the first time in Varn history, they had been forced to retreat by a primitive species. Back on Earth, Commander Rhea turned to her team. "This is the beginning," she said quietly. "They will return, and next time, they will be even angrier." But behind her calm voice, a spark of pride glowed. Humanity had faced the galaxy's most feared empire, and humanity had not broken. Humanity had awakened chaos. The Varn fleet retreated, but not all their ships escaped. One damaged cruiser, hit by chaos units during the battle, lost control and fell toward the moon's surface. Its engines flickered, metal groaned, and the ship spiraled like a wounded beast. Inside, alarms screamed as smoke filled the corridors. Varn soldiers panicked, trying to stabilize the ship with failing systems. But nothing worked. Gravity pulled them down faster and faster. Then the cruiser crashed into a hidden crater on the moon's dark side, the impact shaking the ground. Dust and debris rose like a silent cloud. For a long moment, there was nothing but quiet. Then movement. A single escape pod door opened from the wreckage. A tall figure stumbled out, coughing. His armor was cracked, glowing blue blood dripping from his arm. He was a high-ranking Varn officer, Lieutenant Kovarin, brother of Commander Sovakrin. He limped forward, confused, weak, and angry. His ship was destroyed. His mission had failed. And worst of all, he was stranded on an enemy world. He activated his communicator, trying to contact the fleet, but the device beeped with static. No signal. The moon base, hidden beneath the surface, detected the crash instantly. Commander Rhea Morgan watched the footage carefully. She zoomed in on the lone alien walking across the crater, trying to repair his suit. "We have a survivor," she said. Her team gasped. "Commander," an officer said. "Should we eliminate him?" Rhea shook her head. "No. We capture him. This is our chance to learn who the Varn really are." Within minutes, a specialized chaos retrieval team was deployed. Their ship rose silently from an underground hangar and flew toward the crash site. They moved without lights, without sound, blending into the shadows. Kovarin sensed movement and turned sharply. His 4 eyes scanned the darkness, muscles tightened, claws ready. "Come out," he growled. But no one answered. Instead, he heard a faint hum, then saw a net of glowing blue energy fly through the air. It wrapped around him instantly, locking his limbs. He roared in anger and tried to break free, but the net tightened. A group of human soldiers, wearing black armor shaped with chaos patterns, approached from the darkness. Their helmets had glowing visors. Their steps were silent. Kovarin stared in shock. This was not the weak species he expected. These humans looked like predators. The team leader stepped forward. "Target secured," he said. With precise movements, they injected a neutralizing agent into the alien's neck. Kovarin's vision blurred. His body weakened. The last thing he saw before losing consciousness was the human soldiers lifting him like a captured giant. When he woke up, Kovarin was inside a containment chamber in the moon base. Thick transparent walls surrounded him. Strange human devices scanned his body, measuring everything from heart rate to neural patterns. He tried to move, but energy restraints held his arms and legs in place. Panic flashed through his eyes. "Where am I?" he demanded, his voice echoing inside the room. A door opened, and Commander Rhea entered with 2 officers. She walked calmly, her posture firm, her eyes sharp. Kovarin studied her. A small creature, soft-skinned, fragile-looking. And yet, she carried herself like a commander, like a warrior. "You are on the moon," Rhea said plainly. "A prisoner of Earth." Kovarin snarled. "Release me immediately. I am a Varn officer. Your species has committed a crime by capturing me." Rhea remained calm. "Your fleet attacked first. You declared war. That makes you a combatant. And we need information." The alien laughed, a cruel, echoing sound. "You think I will obey? You think I fear you?" Rhea leaned forward slightly, her eyes unblinking. "I don't need you to fear me. I need you to understand something. Humans are not what your empire thinks." Kovarin pulled against the restraints. Your chaos tactics, you think they impress me? They are foolish. Illogical. Rhea smirked. Maybe. But they beat you. Kovarin froze, anger burning in his eyes. He remembered the battle. The spinning, unpredictable ships. The impossible movements. The chaos. That was luck, he hissed. Luck does not happen twice. Rhea stepped closer to the glass. You are wrong. Humans are good at one thing, surviving. And we will survive your empire, too. The alien stared at her, confused. No species had ever spoken to him like this. No species had ever refused to kneel before the Varn. He felt something he had not felt in centuries, uncertainty. Rhea tapped a button, and the hologram behind her lit up with images, chaos units, shield barriers, tactical simulations. We know your fleet will return, she said. When they do, we need to understand your tactics, your weaknesses, your technology. Kovarin hissed. I will tell you nothing. Rhea nodded. That's fine. We'll learn it ourselves. And when the Varn return, we'll be ready. For the first time, fear flickered in Kovarin's eyes. His voice trembled slightly. What are you humans? Rhea answered quietly. We are the species your empire should never have attacked. Hours passed. The alien sat silently, thinking. He tried contacting his fleet again using his internal communicator, but every attempt was blocked. He felt trapped, alone, and helpless. But something strange happened. He became curious. These humans were different. Smaller, weaker, but clever. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Meanwhile, Rhea gathered her team in the operations room. Study everything, she ordered. His weapon patterns. His armor design. His biology. If we understand them, we can fight them. Scientists rushed to their stations. Data from Kovarin's chamber filled the screens. The more they learned, the more confident Rhea became. This alien was not invincible. His species had weaknesses, and Earth could use those weaknesses. In orbit, Commander Sovakran received the news. One cruiser missing. One officer missing. His brother missing. Rage filled him like fire. Prepare the Empire fleet, he growled. I will burn Earth to ashes. But Earth was no longer a simple target. Earth had a prisoner. Earth had information. Earth had chaos. The Varn Empire believed they had frightened Earth. They believed humans would hide, panic, and wait for their doom. But only hours after the first battle, something happened that the Varn did not expect. Earth attacked first. Deep underground, in the hidden base beneath the mountains, Commander Rhea Morgan stood before the holomap of the solar system. Red dots marked the Varn fleet regrouping beyond the moon. Yellow circles showed Earth's defense zones. But dozens of green symbols, Project Chaos units, were ready to launch. Rhea's voice was calm but firm. The Varn are angry. They lost ships. They lost soldiers. They lost pride. They will return with more firepower. If we wait, they will crush us. So we strike now. We hit their fleet before it hits us. Her team nodded, their faces serious. Every second mattered. Every choice could save or doom the planet. Rhea turned to the Chaos Core. Activate Phase 3. The core responded immediately, its voice deep and steady. Phase 3 authorized. Preparing offensive formations. The moon vibrated as hidden hangars opened. Hundreds of Chaos units rose from beneath the surface like a metallic swarm. Their shapes glinted in the cold darkness. They moved silently, without signal trails, without heat signatures. They were ghosts in space. On the Varn flagship, Commander Sovakran prepared to launch a full invasion. His voice thundered through the command deck. Charge all cannons. Ready the landing carriers. This time, Earth will not have time to resist. But just as he prepared to give the final attack order, an officer shouted, Commander, unidentified objects approaching from the moon. Sovakran turned sharply. What objects? How many? The officer swallowed hard. At least 300, maybe more. Sovakran froze. 300? Humans do not have that many ships. But they did now. The chaos swarm moved like a storm of unpredictable shadows. No formation. No order. No logic. They zigzagged, accelerated, stopped, reversed. Patterns no Varn computer could understand. The Varn fleet opened fire, filling space with glowing plasma, but every blast missed. Chaos units twisted away just in time, as if they knew the future. Sovakran growled in frustration. "Track their movement," he ordered. His officers tried, but the screens filled with red errors. "Impossible," one officer shouted. "Their movement is random. Our targeting systems cannot calculate." Sovakran clenched his teeth. Then fire everywhere. Plasma storms erupted across space, lighting up the darkness. But the Chaos units slipped through the fire like phantoms. Then they attacked. Not with heavy cannons. Not with giant missiles. They used precision strikes. Each unit analyzed weak points the moment they appeared. They targeted energy vents, shield generators, weapon joints. One Chaos ship shot a tiny beam into a Varn destroyer's power grid. The ship shut down instantly, floating dead in space. Another Chaos unit released a spray of metallic dust that stuck to enemy sensors, blinding them. A third unit emitted false distress signals, tricking Varn ships into repositioning, straight into collisions. On Earth, Rhea and her team watched the battle unfold. "Good," she said. "Keep hitting their weak spots. Do not shoot to destroy, shoot to disable." Her strategy was clear. Break the Varn fleet piece by piece without risking everything in one strike. Chaos obeyed perfectly. Sovakran felt humiliation boiling inside him. He slammed his fist on the control table. "How can small human ships do this?" he shouted. His second-in-command replied shakily. "Commander, the humans fight with no fear. No pattern. They fight like chaos." Sovakran hissed. Chaos is not strategy. But deep down he knew the truth. The humans were unpredictable, and unpredictable meant dangerous. Chaos units continued their attack. They slipped behind a Varn cruiser and fired bursts into its thruster vents. The cruiser spun out of control, smashing into another ship. Explosions lit up the darkness. Another Varn vessel tried to escape by turning sharply, but a Chaos ship accelerated in an impossible angle, slicing through the cruiser's weapon core. Blue flame erupted from the impact. Inside the moon base, Rhea's team started receiving new intel. "Commander," a scientist said, "the Varn fleet is losing coordination. Their formations are breaking. Their commander is making mistakes." Rhea nodded. "He is angry." "Good. Anger makes enemies sloppy." For the first time, Sovakran felt fear. He had fought empires stronger than Earth. He had conquered civilizations older than Earth. But none had fought like this. None had used madness as a weapon. He knew he had to do something before his entire fleet collapsed. "Signal all ships," he ordered. "Retreat to high orbit. Regroup. We cannot fight them like this." But chaos was not finished. As the Varn ships tried to retreat, Chaos units cut off their escape paths. They formed a shifting wall of unpredictable movement, blocking every exit. The Varn ships were trapped. Sovakran stared in disbelief. "They are hurting us," he whispered. "Like animals." Rhea watched everything from the hologram screen. "Now," she said quietly, "we strike the command ship." 10 elite Chaos units broke away from the swarm. They moved at incredible speed, heading straight toward the flagship. The Varn officers panicked. "Commander, incoming enemy units." Sovakran shouted, "Raise shields." But the Chaos units vanished from radar, then reappeared directly above the flagship. They fired synchronized shots into the flagship's shield emitter. The entire shield shattered like glass. Sparks exploded across the command deck. Sovakran stumbled backward, shocked. How is this possible? The flagship's systems flickered. Fires broke out. Officers rushed to regain control, but nothing worked. Chaos units circled the ship like metallic wolves. They did not destroy it. They simply disabled every weapon, every engine, every sensor. Earth had just crippled the enemy's most powerful ship without losing a single unit. In the moon base, the operations room erupted with cheers. But Rhea raised her hand. "Do not celebrate. This is war, and they will return with something stronger." Still, she allowed herself one small smile. Today, Earth had struck back, and the galaxy had just learned something very important. Humans were not prey. Humans were not weak. Humans were chaos. After the brutal battle in high orbit, Earth believed it had gained precious time. The Varn flagship was disabled, the enemy fleet scattered, and the world finally breathed for a moment. But deep in the cosmic dark, far beyond the planets and the light of stars, something older than the Varn Empire began to stir. The Whispering Void, an ancient region of silent space that even alien races feared, felt the tremor of the conflict near Earth. It sensed the awakening of chaos, the unpredictable human weapon. It sensed emotions, fear, anger, confusion spreading across the galaxy. And it listened, for the void did not simply exist. It absorbed. It learned. It changed. On the moon base, Commander Rhea Morgan stood alone on the observation deck. Below her, Earth glowed warmly like a fragile jewel. Above her, the shadow of the damaged Varn flagship drifted silently, guarded by chaos units. But Rhea felt no victory. She felt something heavy, like a storm building in the distance. Chaos detected it first. The Corps' artificial voice echoed through the room. Unidentified spatial disturbance detected beyond Neptune. It announced. Rhea turned sharply. What kind of disturbance? The Corps hesitated. For the first time, there was uncertainty in its tone. Unknown. The phenomenon does not match any recorded cosmic event. Scanning is difficult. That alone made Rhea nervous. Chaos never struggled to identify anything. Show me, she ordered. The hollow map flickered, then zoomed outward. A black sphere appeared at the far edge of the solar system. Not a planet, not a ship, not even a natural void. A perfect dark pulse like a wound in reality. It shimmered with faint waves, as if something inside it was whispering. Rhea frowned. Is the Varn calling reinforcements? The Corps replied. Negative. The signature is not Varn, not human, not any known species. The object emits a pattern of frequencies similar to thought. Rhea's eyes widened. Thought? You mean it's alive? Possibly, Chaos said, or something connected to awareness. Meanwhile, on board the disabled Varn flagship, Commander Sovakran struggled to regain control. His ship was dying, machinery fried, systems dark. His officers worked desperately, but their efforts failed again and again. Sovakran felt shame more painful than any physical wound. His empire had never suffered such humiliation. Humans, primitive, chaotic humans, had defeated him. But then a comms officer shouted, Commander, a signal from deep space. Something is approaching rapidly. Sovakran's scales tightened. From where? The officer hesitated. From the Whispering Void. Silence fell on the deck. Every Varn soldier felt a chill. Even Sovakran, hardened by war, felt fear. Impossible, he whispered. Nothing leaves the void. But something was leaving now. The black sphere expanded, slowly feeding on surrounding light. Stars near it dimmed. The hollow map aboard the moon base flickered as long-range sensors struggled to track the object. It is accelerating, Chaos reported. Predicted arrival to Neptune orbit, 8 hours. Rhea felt her stomach twist. 8 hours. Earth had barely survived one alien empire. Now something unknown, something terrifying, was heading toward the solar system. Scientists and generals filled the moon base command center. They argued about theories, but none fit the readings. One scientist whispered, "It is a void storm, a collapse of reality." Another murmured, "No, it's intelligence. Something ancient, something that heard our battle like a scream in the void." Rhea silenced them with a look. "We will not panic. We will prepare. Chaos, activate full analysis." Chaos responded, attempting to decipher energy patterns. But then something unexpected happened. A whisper filled the room. Not from the speakers, not from the machinery, from everywhere. A faint voice sliding into their minds. Rhea froze. Her heart pounded. The whisper was not a language, yet she understood it. "I hear you." Rhea stepped back, her breath shaking. What was that? The scientists panicked, checking devices, but nothing showed audio signals. Chaos spoke. "The phenomenon is communicating through cognitive resonance. It is speaking directly to your minds." And then the whisper came again, louder this time. "I feel your fear. I taste your chaos. Sovakran heard it too aboard his damaged ship. His soldiers trembled, covering their ears though the sound was inside them. Sovakran snarled, "What are you?" The whisper replied gently, almost kindly, "Hungry." On the moon base, alarms blared. Chaos reported, "The object is draining dark energy from the outer system. Space-time distortions increasing. Predicted arrival at Earth, 5 hours." Rhea felt sweat on her skin. "Why is it coming here?" Chaos answered, "Because we woke it." Rhea tried to think, to stay calm. What does it want? Chaos hesitated. Unknown, but its energy consumption suggests it might feed on thought, emotion, fear. Rhea clenched her fists. "It is attracted to chaos," she whispered. "Our chaos." The whispering void expanded again, now large enough to swallow moons. From its surface, black tendrils stretched outward like long shadows. And again, the voice echoed into every mind, human, Varn, and chaos alike. "I am coming." Sovakran gripped the railing, feeling powerless. His proud empire had survived starkillers, plague worlds, supernova traps, but nothing like this. He looked at the holoscreen showing Earth and whispered, "Human Commander, if you can hear me, we must speak." Rhea received his transmission seconds later. Her officers gasped. Rhea frowned at the sight of Sovakran, wounded, angry, scared. "Why contact us now?" she asked. Sovakran breathed heavily. "Because the thing that approaches, it does not care if we are human or Varn. It does not want war. It wants to consume everything." Rhea stared at him, her voice low. "Then we have no choice." For the first time in history, human and Varn stood on the same side. Rhea turned toward the dark sphere on the holomap. Her voice was steady. "Prepare for the final stand." For the whispering void was coming, and it was hungry. Earth and the Varn Empire had never imagined they would stand together, side by side, against a single enemy. Yet now, as the whispering void moved closer, consuming stars and warping space like a living shadow, they had no other choice. Commander Rhea Morgan stood in the moon base war room, staring at the dark expanding sphere on the holomap. It filled more and more of the screen, with each passing minute. Chaos pulsed with warnings, red light, filling the room. "The entity has entered Neptune's orbit," it announced. "It is extracting energy directly from the planet's magnetic field. Neptune is destabilizing." Rhea's heart tightened. "Destabilizing how?" Chaos paused, then answered. "Planetary collapse predicted in 40 minutes. Across the void, Neptune, massive, ancient, began to twist, its blue cloud spiraling inward like water down a drain. The whispering void fed on it like a predator swallowing a moon-sized meal. Rhea felt the weight of that sight deep in her chest. "It eats planets," she whispered. "It feeds on existence," Chaos corrected. A new signal flashed on the screen. Commander Sovakran's scarred face appeared, lit by flickering emergency lights of the damaged Varn flagship. His expression was grave but controlled. "Human Commander," he said, "my people have regrouped. A fleet of war cruisers is on the way, but even our full strength may not stop this thing." Rhea nodded. "Then we combine everything, human, Varn, chaos." Sovakran let out a slow breath. "Agreed. We fight together, or we die alone." High above Earth, Varn warships began to arrive. Sharp, angular vessels with glowing blue hulls. Human ships launched from every orbital base. Moon fighters, Earth defense craft, chaos units moving like dark streaks. For the first time in history, species who hated each other formed a single wall of steel around the planet. And still, the whispering void came. It reached Uranus next. The planet trembled like a fragile bubble. In moments it collapsed, shrinking inward until it vanished completely, replaced by swirling black energy. Every officer on the moon base froze. Every Varn soldier aboard their ships bowed their heads. Chaos spoke again. "The entity accelerates. Arrival in inner system estimated in 90 minutes. 90 minutes. Not even 2 hours until the end." Rhea spoke quickly. "Chaos, tell me everything. Weaknesses. Structure. How do we stop it?" The core hummed with frantic processing. The entity is not matter. It is not energy. It is a consciousness, a living void. Rhea gritted her teeth. Everything has a weakness. Chaos continued. It feeds on emotion, thought, fear. It grows stronger when intelligent life is near. Sovakran's voice came through the speakers. So we are feeding it by existing. Chaos responded. Correct. Rhea clenched her jaw. Then how do we starve it? For a moment, there was silence. Then Chaos gave a strange answer. It may be possible to overload it. Overload it? Rhea repeated. With what? With chaos, Chaos said. Human unpredictability. Emotional storms. Conflicting thoughts. It cannot consume what it cannot comprehend. If we overwhelm its mind with pure mental noise, it may collapse. Rhea blinked. We're going to attack it with thoughts. Chaos replied. Not thoughts, pure chaos signals. Only humans generate them in large amounts. That is why the entity came here. Sovakran growled. So the human's madness will save the galaxy? Rhea ignored his tone. What do we need to do? Direct connection, Chaos said. You must connect your human mental patterns to the chaos core. The Varn must connect theirs. A storm of conflicting minds may disrupt the entity. Rhea froze. You want us to link our minds? Chaos answered. It is the only known counter. Your fear attracts it. Your chaos can destroy it. The moon base went silent. Rhea closed her eyes. She had never been afraid of battle, but this was different. This was opening her mind to something alien, something ancient, but she had no choice. Minutes later, she stood in the chaos chamber. The room glowed with shifting lights. Varn officers arrived through a temporary portal link, escorted by human soldiers. Even stepping into the same room caused tension, but there was no time for arguments. Sovakran entered last, towering, wounded but proud. He stared at Rhea. If this fails, we die. Rhea met his gaze. If we do nothing, we die sooner. They approached the chaos core, a sphere of swirling energy. Cables extended from it like metal vines. Chaos spoke. When activated, your minds will merge briefly. Do not resist. Do not fight each other. Focus on chaos, not conflict. Rhea swallowed hard. The Varn officers did the same, their four eyes flickering nervously. Chaos continued. The whispering void has entered Saturn's orbit. A new image popped onto the holomap. Saturn was dissolving, its rings crashing inward, torn apart by the dark sphere. Time was almost gone. Rhea gripped the connection handle. Begin, she ordered. Chaos activated the mental link. Rhea gasped as a shockwave flooded her mind. She felt alien thoughts brushing against her own. Varn memories, Varn instincts, cold logic, discipline. And in return, the Varn felt human emotions for the first time. Fear, anger, hope, sorrow, chaos. It overwhelmed them. One Varn screamed. Another collapsed to his knees. Sovakran's mind trembled like cracking glass. He had never felt such raw intensity. Rhea forced herself to stay strong. Focus, she shouted. Push everything outward. The core amplified their mental storm and sent it toward the whispering void. The entity paused mid-flight. The black sphere trembled. A voice filled the minds of every living being in the system. Stop, it whispered. Too much. The sphere flickered like dying fire. Chaos reported. It is weakening. Increase signal. Rhea pushed harder. Sovakran forced his mind to stay connected. Humans, Varn, Chaos, all sending their chaotic storm into the dark mind. The whispering void screamed, not with sound, but with reality itself bending. And oh, it howled. I hunger. I consume. It cracked open. Light poured out. The dark sphere collapsed into nothing. Silence swept through space. Rhea collapsed to her knees, trembling. Sovakran fell against the wall, gasping. Chaos flickered weakly. But they were alive, and the whispering void was gone. Or so they thought. For a few minutes, the solar system was silent. No alarms. No rumbling energy. No deadly whispers crawling through minds. Only quiet. Deep, endless quiet. Commander Rhea Morgan lay on the cold floor of the chaos chamber, breathing heavily as her senses slowly returned. Her mind felt stretched, as if she had traveled through a storm of lightning. Across from her, Sovakran dragged himself upright, his four eyes unfocused, clearly shaken by the intensity of human emotions he had just experienced. The Varn soldiers around him twitched in discomfort, some trembling from the shock of the mental link. Chaos flickered weakly in the center of the room, its energy dim like a fading ember. Core stability at 42%, it reported in a strained tone. Mental overload applied severe stress to systems. Rhea forced herself to stand. Her legs shook, but she stayed up. Chaos, did we destroy it? The core hesitated, a delay that made the room tense. Then it answered. The entity was dispersed. No remaining signatures detected. Sovakran let out a slow breath of relief. Then the void creature is gone. Rhea nodded, but something deep inside her felt wrong, as if the silence was too perfect, too clean. She stepped toward the holomap. Saturn's orbit was empty now, the majestic planet gone forever. Neptune and Uranus too lost. Massive wounds in the solar system. Yet the sensors showed nothing unusual. No energy spikes. No cosmic disturbance. Nothing at all. That was the part that scared her. Chaos added. Environmental readings stabilize. Space-time disruption minimal. Solar system safe. Rhea tried to relax, but her instincts screamed otherwise. Humans had survived impossible battles before, and every time something felt too quiet, danger returned. She rubbed her temples, exhausted. We need to repair the core, restore systems, and... Then the lights flickered, only for a second, but every human and Varn froze. Chaos dimmed further. Unidentified anomaly, it whispered. Rhea tensed. Where? Chaos answered slowly. Inside the moon base. Sovakran's eyes widened. Impossible. Nothing breached our shields. But the flicker came again. This time the walls rippled, like reflections on disturbed water. A faint sound echoed in the corridors outside. A whisper. Rhea felt her blood run cold. No, that's not possible. Chaos's voice cracked, glitching. The entity was dispersed, but fragments, pieces of its consciousness, may have survived. The whisper grew louder, slithering into their ears. I'm not gone. The floor vibrated. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls. A dark ripple moved down the hallway, like a tide of ink. Varn soldiers raised their plasma rifles. Human soldiers stepped forward with trembling weapons. Rhea grabbed her communicator. All units, defensive positions. Secure the base. But the shadow moved faster than any soldier. It slid under doors, through vents, along ceilings. A dark mist taking shape. Chaos projected emergency lights, bright beams slicing through the darkness. But the shadow absorbed them, fed on them, grew thicker. It learned. Chaos said weakly. It adapts. It no longer needs a whole body to feed. Sovakran hissed. So the void creature lives. Rhea clenched her jaw. It survived inside our minds during the mental link. It hid, waiting. The shadows suddenly surged into the chamber. Soldiers fired. Plasma bolts cut through it. But the shadows simply divided and reformed. The whisper turned into a voice, deep, hungry, angry. You tried to destroy me, so I will consume you first. Chaos generated a protective barrier around the core, blue light forming a dome. The shadow slammed against it, warping the surface. Barrier integrity falling, Chaos warned. Rhea looked around the room desperately. They couldn't fight this thing with weapons. Physical force meant nothing. We need to trap it again, she said. Force it into a contained space. Sovakran shouted over the roaring shadow. How? It slips through matter. Rhea pointed at the core. Chaos, can you open a dimensional fracture? Chaos flickered. A small tear, yes. But unstable. Dangerous. Do it. Rhea ordered. The shadow lunged at her instantly. Sovakran shoved her aside, taking the hit. The dark mass wrapped around him, whispering eagerly. The Varn command arrived, struggling to breathe. It feeds, he gasped. It feeds on thought. His eyes rolled back. but he pushed the creature away with sheer force of will. Rhea rushed to his side. "Stay with me." "Open the fracture," Sovakran growled. Chaos began charging energy. The floor crackled with glowing lines. The shadow turned, sensing the danger. It roared, a deep, mind-shaking sound that made the light shatter. Then the fracture opened. A swirling tear appeared in the center of the chamber, pulling air toward it like a vortex. The shadow recoiled. "No!" Rhea shouted. "Everyone push it in." Humans and Varn advanced together, firing, yelling, forcing their minds to project fear and anger outward. Chaos amplified the mental noise. The shadow weakened, its form trembling. Rhea grabbed a fallen metal panel and swung it like a shield, driving the creature back. Sovakran, though wounded, used his claws to slash at the edges of the darkness, forcing it toward the vortex. "It's working!" Rhea shouted. The shadow screeched, pulling itself along walls to escape, but soldiers blocked every exit. With one final combined push, the humans and Varn drove the shadow into the dimensional tear. The creature screamed, an agonizing, endless cry, and vanished into the swirling fracture. Chaos immediately sealed the tear with a burst of energy. Silence returned. True silence. Rhea fell to her knees. Sovakran collapsed beside her. Chaos dimmed, exhausted. "The fragment has been contained," it said softly. But then, quietly, it added. However, something else came through. Rhea's head snapped up. "What?" Chaos paused, then displayed an image on the holoscreen. A small object lay on the moon's surface outside the base. A black cube. Perfect. Motionless. Radiating quiet energy. Sovakran frowned. "Is that part of the creature?" Chaos answered. "Unknown. But it was not here before. It came through the fracture." Rhea stared at the cube. Her instincts twisted again. The battle was not finished. The whispering void was not done. And whatever that cube was, it was waiting. The black cube rested silently on the moon's surface, cold and motionless, like a piece of frozen night. It was small, no larger than a human hand, but every sensor, every scanner, every instinct screamed that it was more dangerous than any weapon in the solar system. Commander Rhea Morgan stood inside the moon base observation dome, staring down at the mysterious object through reinforced glass. It didn't move. It didn't glow. It didn't react to light or gravity. Yet the moment she looked at it, she felt a pressure inside her skull, like the cube was watching her back. Sovakran stood beside her, still weak from fighting the shadow. The four-eyed Varn commander examined the cube carefully. "It is not a simple object," he said quietly. "It carries a presence." Rhea nodded, her voice low. The fragment of the creature was pushed into the fracture, but this thing came out instead. Chaos hovered nearby, its energy dim but slowly stabilizing. "The cube emits a low-frequency pulse," the AI reported. "It is not harmful, but it seems alive." A chill ran through the room. Rhea frowned. "Alive? How?" Chaos responded. "The object is not biological. It is conceptual, like a thought given shape." Sovakran narrowed his eyes. "A thought? Whose thought?" Chaos's lights flickered. Perhaps the void creature's last thought before it was destroyed. Or something older. Rhea felt her stomach twist. Older than that thing? What could be older than something that feeds on space-time? Chaos answered quietly. The void it came from. The base fell silent. Nobody wanted to imagine what might exist beyond the walls of normal reality. Suddenly, the cube pulsed, just once, a faint ripple that spread like a quiet heartbeat. Every monitor in the moon base flickered. Every soldier froze. Sovakran stepped back, claws tense. It moved. Rhea leaned forward, but not physically. It echoed. Chaos ran a scan. Energy spike inside the cube. Something is activating. Rhea hit the alarm. All units to full alert. Keep distance from the cube. Human and Varn soldiers rushed to their stations around the base perimeter. Drones aimed sensors and weapons at the cube. But the cube did nothing else. No movement. No sound. No glow. Just silence. As if waiting. Hours passed. The solar system still wounded, missing giant planets, still trembling from the cosmic trauma. Earth's governments tried to rebuild, repair satellites, and help frightened people understand what happened. The Varn fleet, once an invading force, now hovered near Earth in uneasy alliance. And Rhea did not leave the observation dome. Her eyes were locked on the cube the entire time. Suddenly Chaos spoke again, voice sharper. "Commander, I am detecting small-scale gravitational distortions around the cube. Pattern is similar to a heartbeat." Rhea stiffened. "It's alive." Sovakran stepped forward. "We should destroy it." Chaos responded instantly. "Negative. All simulations indicate that attacking the cube may trigger a reality tear." Rhea winced. "Meaning another fracture?" Chaos buzzed. "Worse. A collapse." Sovakran growled, frustrated. "Then what do we do?" "Watch it." Rhea smiled faintly but without humor. "For now, yes." But things were far from stable. At exactly the 20th hour since the cube appeared, it pulsed again, this time brighter. A thin beam of black light rose from it, twisting into the sky. Not upward like a normal beam, sideways, bending around gravity, space, and logic. "The cube is creating a signal," Chaos warned. "Destination unknown." Rhea felt dread grip her chest. "Is it calling something?" The AI hesitated. "Not something. Somewhere." The beam flickered, then formed a strange symbol in the air above the cube. A shifting shape. Impossible to focus on. Rhea stared at it, and suddenly the room around her melted away. She was standing in darkness, endless black stretching in every direction. A voice whispered behind her. Not the same voice from the void creature, something deeper, older. "You opened the door." Rhea spun around. Nothing but darkness. "Who are you?" she demanded. "Why are you here?" The voice replied calmly, almost amused. "We have always been here. Watching. Waiting." Rhea tried to step back, but her feet couldn't move. The darkness held her in place. "What do you want?" she whispered. The voice answered, "Balance." Suddenly light exploded in her vision, images flashing rapidly. Stars forming, stars dying, galaxies spinning, worlds torn apart, civilizations rising and falling. And then she saw Earth, small, fragile, bright. A glowing thread connected it to billions of others across space. The voice whispered, "Your species breaks patterns. You are noise in the order. Unpredictable. Dangerous. The void creature was sent to study you, not to destroy you." Rhea's eyes widened. "Sent? By who?" The darkness shifted. She felt something towering above her, something she could not see. "By us," the voice said. "The architects of reality." Rhea froze. Her heartbeat stopped for a moment. "Why send something that almost killed the entire system?" she demanded. The voice replied, "Because chaos must be measured. Life must be tested. Your kind passed the first test." Rhea's throat tightened. "There are more tests." The voice whispered gently, "Always." Suddenly Rhea snapped back into her body, gasping, collapsing against the glass. Sovakran grabbed her arm. "Commander, what happened?" Rhea swallowed hard. "The cube, it showed me something." Chaos's lights flickered. "Your neural patterns spiked. You experienced a vision." "Not a vision," Rhea whispered. "A message." She stared at the cube, fear tightening her chest. "Someone sent that void creature. Someone powerful. And they're watching us." Sovakran tensed. "Then this cube is a warning?" Rhea shook her head slowly. "No, it's a test." Chaos hummed. "The cube is pulsing again." The beam widened. The symbol shifted, and a small crack appeared in the air above the cube, like reality itself was opening. Rhea stepped back. Sovakran raised his weapon. Chaos's voice trembled. "Commander, something is trying to come through." And Part 9 ends with the crack widening, and something stepping from the other side. The crack above the black cube widened, stretching the very air like thin silk, and from it emerged a being that defied every human and Varn understanding. It was enormous, yet shapeless, a twisting mass of shadows and light that seemed to shift with every glance. Its presence made the moon tremble, walls of the base groaning as if in fear. Commander Rhea Morgan stood frozen, her mind reeling from what she saw. Sovakran gripped the edge of a console, claws digging into metal, his four eyes wide with disbelief and rage. "What is that thing?" he hissed. Chaos's voice, usually calm and precise, now trembled slightly. "Unknown classification. Possibly an architect. Extremely powerful. Mental and physical presence overwhelming." The being spoke, not in words, but as thoughts implanted directly into every mind in the room. "You have survived my test," it said. "You have faced a fragment. You have unleashed chaos. You have grown interesting." Rhea swallowed hard. "Are you the ones who sent the void creature?" The presence shifted, black and silver tendrils curling around the chamber as though tasting the air. "We sent nothing. The void creature was a fragment of curiosity, a scout, a measure. Now you stand before us, and we watch with new interest." Sovakran growled. "Measure us? You almost destroyed my fleet. You almost destroyed Earth." The architect's presence pulsed. "We take nothing personally. You are but part of the pattern, and patterns must be tested." Rhea's hand shook slightly as she stepped forward. "Then why appear now? Why here?" The being pulsed, a rhythm like a heartbeat echoing in their skulls. "Because you created chaos beyond expectation. Your species does not follow logic, and we do not fully understand chaos. That intrigues us. You are anomalies. You are noise in the order, and noise is rare. Too few survive it. You have survived it twice." Sovakran's tail lashed behind him, a sign of tension. "And what happens if we fail your next test?" The architect's presence grew cold, yet calm. "Failure means erasure, not just of life, but of pattern, of memory, of existence in this region. You will never have been, and nothing will remember you." A shiver ran down Rhea's spine. Her chest tightened. "Then why are you here instead of letting it happen?" The being shifted again. "Because curiosity is stronger than fear. You humans and your allies fascinate us. We wish to see the next step. Will you grow? Will you survive? Will you create chaos so complex we cannot calculate it?" The black cube pulsed, brightening, as though echoing the architect's thoughts. Chaos flickered. The cube is a conduit, a bridge to the architect's awareness. It focuses their observation. It may amplify your thoughts into measurable patterns. Rhea stared at the cube, realization dawning. So everything we did, the mental link, the chaos signal, we were showing them our patterns. Chaos confirmed. "Correct. It is likely the architects are learning from your species in real time." Sovakran bared his teeth. "Then we fight them next? Or do we obey them?" Rhea shook her head slowly. "I don't think we obey. We adapt. We survive. That's what humans do." The architects pulsed again, their presence almost affectionate, yet terrifying. "Adaptation will be necessary," they projected. The void creature was only the beginning. There will be other probes, other fragments, other patterns to measure. Your alliance with the Varn clever, unpredictable, interesting. Rhea clenched her fists. "We survive because we fight. And if you come here to destroy us, we will fight again." The presence seemed to shimmer. Then a soundless wave of amusement filled their minds. "Yes, we suspected as much. You humans are resilient, illogical, and beautiful in your chaos. Sovakran of the Varn, you are similar. Strength of mind, control of fear, admirable. Your species may yet be useful in the greater pattern." Sovakran snorted. "Useful? I am not a tool for you." The architect's presence pulsed sharply, almost like laughter. "Perhaps. But we measure what we cannot control. And you cannot be fully controlled." Rhea noticed the black cube, vibrating faster now. Chaos analyzed the cube. Chaos responded. Cube integrity increasing. Unknown energy buildup. The architects may be embedding part of themselves inside it, creating a reserve, a tether to observe further tests. Rhea exhaled slowly. Then the cube is not just a warning, it's a seed. Sovakran's tail twitched nervously. A seed of what? Rhea's eyes narrowed. Of control, or influence, or maybe both. We must guard it, or it will change everything we know. The architects pulsed again. You have survived. You have resisted. But understand this, chaos is measured, not destroyed. The void fragment was only a test. The cube is your responsibility. The next steps will come. Be ready. Their presence began to fade slowly, the shadows retracting into the tear they emerged from. The black cube remained, pulsing quietly on the moon's surface, a silent, ominous heartbeat. Chaos projected an alert, energy levels stabilizing, but residual consciousness of the architects detected within the cube. Containment necessary. Maximum security advised. Rhea turned to Sovakran. We need a plan. Not just for the cube, but for anything they send next. We can't predict them, but we can prepare. Sovakran nodded, still tense but aware of the truth. Then Earth and Varn worked together. For survival. Rhea exhaled. The moon's surface was quiet now. The base had survived, the solar system still intact. But she knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere in the void, the architects watched. They had learned, observed, and recorded. And humanity, unpredictable and chaotic, had earned their attention. Rhea touched the black cube through the glass, her reflection merging with its dark surface. We'll survive, she whispered, and we'll keep fighting no matter who watches. Chaos added softly. The universe has new players. The architects are awake. And so is humanity. Outside, the moon lay quiet, the black cube pulsing faintly. And somewhere beyond the stars, ancient minds waited, curious to see the chaos unfold. The test had ended, but the war of patterns and chaos had only just begun.